Well, this is the second Sunday in October, and we have a new theme as we did starting last week from the Centers for Spiritual Living. October theme is Cherish the Human Family. I think we can all get behind that now that she's got us all opened up. And the value for the month, of course, is unity. And today's topic is growing a house into a home. Hugh Prather, some of you may remember him from the 70s if you were around then. And he was quoted in Edward Vion's beautiful book he wrote just this past year. Who really knows the effect of one happy thought? Is it possible that it circles the globe, finding entry into any open heart, encouraging and giving hope in some unseen way? I am convinced it does. For whenever I am truly loving, I feel the warmth and the presence of the like-minded, a growing family whose strength lies in their gentleness and whose message is in their treatment of others. That's how you build a home. That's obviously how you grow a house into a home. Remember the wonderful house parables that Jesus taught in Matthew and in Luke? Very similar. It was the foolish man who built his house on shifting sand, remember? Didn't have a firm foundation. It was the wise man who built his house on solid rock. So without a firm foundation, then our individual families, our spiritual families, the other groups that we participate in, well, they may become at the effect of reaction. Have you ever had any reaction going on around in your life? Someone else reacts to you, you react to them, yam, yam, yam. We saw a wonderful play yesterday called Dot at People's Light, and I learned a new way to have an argument. They're going like that with each other. Nobody hits each other. They just go. I'm not suggesting you try that at home, but it could be fun. It could sort of lighten things up so that the argument's over before it begins. But we open ourselves, unfortunately, to things like people's reaction, like criticism, like false notions of ourselves and others when we're not built ourselves and in our family situations on a firm foundation of spirit. God is love. That is a synonym, you know. Spirit is love. All right, we remember that there's one life. It's the life of the divine. And that life creates and continues to create all sentient beings, all form. Begins with an idea in the mind of the infinite. It is received in the subjective aspect of the infinite mind, and then it's produced in the bodily form, whether it is a house or a car or a person or a tree or a forest, a mountain, a lake. All of this is an expression of the life of the divine. One life, the divine life. And guess what you were created from, in case you don't get it by now? That one life. And we were designed to be co-creators with this infinite life of the one. Isn't that a great divine design? It's so wonderful. It's beyond anything we can really imagine, but the more we think about it, the more real it becomes for us. So when our lives individually are intrinsically and completely, wholly woven from that one life, and we recognize it and remember it, the life of the divine is expressing in, through, and as me, and I choose everything that I do to be loving and kind and creative and conscious and wonderful. I'm using the law of mind that Jesus taught about beautifully. As you sow, so shall you reap. I'm using it consciously, and I'm using it correctly, and I'm using it in a way that I'm going to be happy about. And then when that divine presence becomes realized in whatever group we are in, in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our work environment, in the wonderful groups that we choose to belong to, in our spiritual community. And we remember that the divine love is the source of it all. That's the firm foundation. And with this firm foundation that is spirit-based, spirit-led thoughts and spirit-led feelings and actions, this home becomes unshakable. Unshakable. And no matter what happens in life, and things happen. Somebody in one of my classes not too long ago said, life just gets lifey sometimes. Does your life ever get lifey? Yeah. And things happen that were unexpected. And things happen that aren't pleasant. We need to remember that that's passing. Remember, we read so much in the New Testament. And it came to pass. And it came to pass. Let's just take that phrase itself. It did not come to stay. The divine mind, the divine heart is permanent. The things that take place in our lives come and go. There's a perfect circulation. And the less we become attached to and worried about all those scary things that might take place in our lives, who knew she really was a witch? The more we pay more attention to what's solid and eternal, we're focusing on our foundation, and we're building a foundation that is true and real. As Georgie said in her treatment this morning, we're set free. We know the truth, and it sets us free. And you know what else? When we continue to focus upon it, it keeps us free. We don't just become free for a moment. We want to continue to focus on that which is true and beautiful, that which is kind, that which is creative, that which is constructive, that which will make a difference not only in our own environment, but in the larger community and in the world itself. So when we rely completely upon the power and the presence of divine love and infinite wisdom, we co-create something really amazing. We want to keep our hearts open. It's too easy in this world and things that are going on in it to get so caught up in the earth picture that we forget about the heavenly picture. And what is heaven? Uranos in the Greek means that which is forever and ever expanding. See, we come into hell or contraction, something that's held in, when we get too caught up in what's going on around us in our world, personally or globally. And there's enough of it, isn't there? And it will not outlast the infinite love and wisdom of the divine, because that's permanent. So we can't keep focusing on what's scaring us or what's upsetting us. We need to do what feels right to do. We do ask ourselves, is this mine to do? But go first to spirit. Go first to divine love. Go first to that infinite wisdom and ask, what is mine to do? And maybe it's to write a letter. Or maybe it's to stand with people for something, not against, but for something. But when we find that this wisdom and this love that is infinite and eternal lives right within our own hearts and minds, we become empowered. And with those open hearts and minds, we radiate that beautiful consciousness to other beloveds. And that expands into greater possibilities. So let's make healthy choices. I've been speaking a little bit lately about reminding myself and each other about Don Miguel Ruiz's beautiful 4 agreements. So he went on to more after that, but let's stick with the 4 for right now. Remember what they are? Be impeccable with your word. What does that mean? That means speak truth. Keep your conversation in heaven. Speak what's so. Speak what you would like to have returned to you, because we're dealing with an immutable law that responds to us according to our belief. And as we deepen our belief in the fairness of the universe, the justice that we wish to see emerging in our world, starting with our own personal lives, as we focus on that which is true and speak it both internally and externally, we are speaking truth. We are speaking kindness. We stop and think before anything comes out of our mouths. I have so many wonderful spiritual practices, and one of them each morning is, Beloved, open my heart, illumine my mind, and guide my hands and my mouth, that I might be the presence of God's love in the world today. Today. That I might be the presence of God's love in the world today. That helps me stop and think before I respond to what someone may have said. Most of the time. So let's be impeccable with our word. Let's stop and think before the word comes out of our mouth. Is this life affirming? Is this really true? Because somebody's behavior may not be nice at all. Have you noticed? And yet, our job, my job anyway, is to see through the behavior to that divine being that's standing right before me, or is on television right before me. It's not always easy, but this is our work right now. To see through to the beloved being that lives within that person. If you don't see it, if I don't see it, who is ever going to see it? My job. I don't know if it's yours or not. I hope so. But it's my job to look through the behavior to that divine being. And then I want to be very impeccable with my word and speak only that which is eternally true, not temporarily so. What's the second agreement? That's it. Don't take things personally. That's real easy, isn't it? Yeah, I know. When I was taking classes as a teenager from my beloved Barney, Earl D. Barnum, I remember asking one time in class, is it okay to make things up about why that person might be behaving that way? He says, yeah. And maybe that does have something to do with why the person is behaving that way, and maybe it doesn't have anything to do with me at all. If it does, let's talk about it. But in most cases, it probably doesn't. You heard the expression about getting up on the wrong side of the bed. What's the wrong side of the bed anyway? Have you ever figured that out? I have not. It's the wall. Oh, you're right. Bunk. I understand. That could have happened to that person this morning. Got up and hit the wall. And there's many ways to hit a wall, isn't there? And we do that from time to time. Life comes up against us sometimes. That's the time we get to stop and breathe and remember that love is who we are, that divine wisdom is within us, that we can make really good and perfect choices. And one of the best choices we can make is to do what we can, not to take things personally. See, I won't split infinitives if I can help it. Let's not take things personally. Let's do our best. And if it means, gee, I don't know what may have gone on in that person's life, but I can have compassion. And when I have compassion, it's very hard to take it personally, isn't it? What's the third agreement? Don't make assumptions. Well, because he said that, it must have been because I did that or didn't do that. What did I do or not do? No, it has nothing to do with that. Let's not make assumptions. You know the best way not to make assumptions? Inquire. Yeah, don't judge for sure, but first let's ask. If I begin to assume something, how about I go to the person and ask the question? I'd like to do a reality check. Let's find out. And most of the time we're going to find out that we were going down the wrong road. Let's find out what's really so, and then let's talk about it. Or what's the fourth agreement? always do your best. See, we can focus on not taking things personally, on being impeccable with our word. We can focus on not making assumptions. But you know what? We're not always going to make it. So that's why we love the fourth agreement. We just do our best. Always do our best. Well, that was my best yesterday. I'd like a new best today. So let's always do our best. When we maintain to the best of our ability those four agreements, then there is no criticism and no judgment of ourselves or others. And there's no gossip, and we see through to the truth. And I want us honestly to bless one another. I've been reading another book. I'm almost reading another book. Diane, sorry I hadn't mentioned it to you. It's called The Gentle Art of Blessing. It's so beautiful that I'm going to make a class out of it. As I want us to open our hearts to this beautiful activity of blessing each other and ourselves. Not just bless you when you sneeze, but if somebody seems to be disgruntled, rather than, why are you so grumpy today? How about silently saying, I bless the loving presence within you. I bless the serenity within you. It makes such a difference. And in this book, there are so many examples of changes that have been made within people and within relationships simply by a continual silent blessing and a raising up of that other person. It's delicious. It's the best way I know how to make a home. Let's not get into criticism. Let's not get into judgment. Let's get into blessing. Let's bless the hell out of each other. Let's truly desire the best for one another. That's a real blessing. In absolutely, honestly desiring every person we encounter, including the people walking down the street, bless them to their prosperity, bless them to their peace, bless them to their love. It's a powerful thing because we're using universal laws when we're doing this beautiful practice. This is how we create a loving home. This is how we create a firm foundation in all of our relationships. It returns to us according to what we're sending out. Let's co-create a new vision, shall we? Let's create a place of love and acceptance and safety, a place of safety. Robert Frost said, home is a place where when you go there, they have to take you in. I really love that. And so as each of us willingly does his and her significant part to create and to cultivate harmony and love, peace and joy and prosperity, our families thrive and our beloved spiritual family here thrives. And I commit to my part. It's very important to me to commit to my part in creating a safe and loving place in my own home, in my own neighborhood, in my spiritual community, which I adore. That includes all of you. It's my commitment to create a safe and loving place wherever I am, anywhere. Because like Socrates, I'm a citizen of the universe. I belong in this universe. You belong in this universe. Can we call this beautiful blue globe our home? And can we recreate and co-create this beautiful blue planet as our home with these sweet, easy, gentle ways? I've reminded you many times because I remind myself this many times, what Mother Teresa said, you just don't have to do great things. we can do small things with great love. That's our commitment, to do whatever we do with great love. I love you. And I want to continue deepening our connection to Spirit and to one another. I honestly desire that for everyone. Wherever you are, whoever you are, those here, those on their way, those listening to the podcast tomorrow, and when they do, it'll be today. I honestly desire that we all thrive in loving relationships, in prosperous lives, in radiant health, in delightful creative expression in work and in play. As our conscious creative community endeavors to raise the consciousness of all humankind, all people, known and unknown, and touched by our love, it is the love that makes the house a home. Do you remember that wonderful song, Bless This House? I changed the words just a little bit. It seems to fit better for our community. I will not sing it, I will say it. Maybe Elise would like to sing it. Bless this house, O Lord, we pray, make it safe by night and day. Bless these walls so firm and stout, keeping want and trouble out. Bless the roof and chimneys, tall. Let thy peace lie over all. Bless this door, that it may prove ever open to joy and love. Bless these windows shining bright, letting in God's heavenly light. Bless the hearth blazing somewhere there, with smoke ascending like a prayer. Bless the people that we see, keep them in integrity. Bless us all that we may be clear we always dwell in thee. Bless us all that each day we know that we dwell, O Lord, in thee. Will you say with me, I enter willingly into an ever-expanding community of radiant light workers. We send our love into the world. And so, my beloveds, beginneth our lesson. Thank you.